most of them are made in China, and most of them are made in our factory. Yeah, I'm telling you. But why these luxury brands never tell you that? Because they are trying to pretend to be products of some sophisticated European countries like Italy or France.
We are going to be successful. Since a few weeks the shop was open, we sell the most expensive products in a country where everybody was going by
George Vuitton didn't just make that pattern out of thin air. He allegedly took heavy inspo from Japanese designs called Kamon. These crests have been around for ages in Japan, and when they started trending in Europe, George Vuitton said, "Merci beaucoup," and took that. No credit, no shout out, just vibes. So next time you wear an LV bag, just remember, wear that really
Yeah, bye.
A slowdown and a contraction in the global luxury market. About 50 million people either opted out or were forced out of the luxury market over the past 2 years.
I do feel people started to get tired of purchasing products and realized that we just bought too much and it didn't really make us happy.
Stay out of fashion's firing line. Turn back now. I never thought the day would come, but here we are. Reportedly, Wintour and IMG are taking Chinese manufacturers to court after their alleged actions forced New York Fashion Week to shut down completely. Yes, shut down, canceled. The most iconic fashion event in America didn't just fizzle out, it was ripped apart like a runway dress in a wind tunnel. And honestly, the industry hasn't even started to process what just happened. You have to understand, New York Fashion Week isn't just about clothes. It's the first domino in a billion-dollar global fashion cycle that stretches from Paris to Tokyo. It's where celebrities, influencers, investors, and tastemakers all converge in Manhattan to define the next season. And now, it's gone, reportedly dismantled by suppliers who allegedly pulled out with zero warning. If you ask me, this was no fluke. It looks like a power move cloaked in excuses about fabric delays. And let's talk about Wintour. This is a woman who made and broke careers with a glance, who turned the Met Gala into Fashion Super Bowl, who ran Vogue like it was scripture. If she's slapping her name on a lawsuit alongside IMG, then best believe she's livid, and for good reason. IMG isn't just any fashion partner. They run the show from top to bottom. They coordinate talent, book venues, handle PR, and bankroll the whole production. For the entire operation to fall apart this fast, that says someone lit the match on purpose. This isn't just about keeping their names clean, it's about making a statement. Because if New York Fashion Week can crumble from one supply chain disaster, then the entire industry is built on shaky ground. And trust me, it gets even messier. The drama behind the scenes makes the lawsuit look like just the opening act. We're not talking about accidents. This feels like sabotage. According to sources, Chinese manufacturers, some of the biggest in the business, allegedly stopped production without any warning. No updates, no tracking numbers, just radio silence. Entire lines vanished just days before they were set to hit the runway. You know what that does to a fashion house? It's total chaos. Complete meltdowns. Collections gone. Brand reputations crumbling. PR teams scrambling. Rumors say even major players like Michael Kors and Prabal Gurung were blindsided, with less than 72 hours notice that their showpieces weren't coming. And it wasn't just a single factory either. It allegedly involved multiple manufacturers pulling the plug all at once, like a synchronized collapse. That's why and IMG didn't waste time. They skipped the warning shots and went straight to court. Because if this was coordinated, then it wasn't a disruption, it was a statement. And that statement, it reads loud and clear, "We hold the power now." But Wintour isn't the type to let that slide. What she and IMG reportedly did next took this situation from dramatic to all-out warfare. The fashion world is buzzing that the duo is launching a full-blown legal offensive. We're talking real lawsuits, big ones. Sources claim they're seeking millions in damages for breach of contract, brand damage, and intentional disruption of business operations. This isn't just industry gossip anymore, it's courtroom drama. the kind fashion hasn't seen in years. Remember, IMG doesn't just help put on the show. They are the show. They run the branding, the scheduling, the talent. And Anna, she's the crown jewel. If these two are teaming up to sue, then make no mistake, they're not just mad, they're sending a message. This is a declaration of war. And what makes it even more intriguing is that this might not be about money at all. Word from insiders is the timing felt too precise, too deliberate, like it was meant to humiliate Wintour, rattle IMG, and shake the Western industry to its core. Some believe it was a bold statement from the East to the West. You might run the front rows, but we run the supply. And that flips the entire dynamic. What started as a business breakdown now looks like a power struggle between fashion's ruling class and the suppliers they rely on to keep the illusion alive. But why now? Why go this far? That's where things start to take a darker turn. Because according to insiders, this isn't just a fashion fail, it's a deeper, more strategic play. And it might get uglier before it gets better. ChatGPT said, this whole meltdown may have kicked off with a string of behind-the-scenes ultimatums. Insiders say Chinese manufacturers suddenly demanded higher prices, stricter turnaround times, and even full exclusivity over entire designer collections right before showtime. And when those demands weren't met, they walked. No backup plan, no warning, lights out. But let's be real, this doesn't look like a failed negotiation. It looks like a power play. A bold move to test just how much control these suppliers had. And New York Fashion Week, that was the perfect stage. The timing was brutal, mere days before opening night. With no time to recover, no emergency options, and the media already watching, it wasn't just a production hiccup. It was a total takedown. There are whispers that some brands scrambled to offer bonuses or partial payments in a last-ditch effort to salvage their deliveries. Didn't matter. Once the switch was flipped, it was over. No pieces delivered, not even to the major names. That kind of across-the-board silence isn't a mishap. It's a message. And now that the industry has seen just how fragile their system is, panic is setting in. If this can happen to the most powerful figures in fashion, no one is safe. And while the lawsuits begin to take shape, the real blow has already landed. With New York Fashion Week called off, the damage rippled instantly. We're talking millions in revenue gone overnight. Designers who spent months preparing had nothing to show. Buyers ditched their travel plans. Sponsors dropped out. Entire teams got laid off. And most people outside the fashion world don't even realize how deep the damage runs. Fashion Week isn't just an event, it's the engine that drives seasonal commerce. When that engine stalls, the entire supply chain crashes. From textile producers to sales reps, from stylists to retail buyers, everything went dark. And to make matters worse, there's been no formal explanation, just radio silence. But what happened next blew the lid off even the most cynical fashion insiders. As Anna Wintour and IMG allegedly geared up for court, the fashion world didn't sit still. Models started dropping vague hints on social media. Designers leaked frantic group chats. One stylist claimed the garments were still stuck in overseas shipping containers, abandoned and left to rot. Others whispered about deliberate production slowdowns used as punishment. The rage was palpable. And it wasn't just disappointment, it was betrayal. Designers who bet everything on that one chance to break through were left with nothing. New York Fashion Week turned from career maker to career breaker in a blink. And here's the bigger issue. The scandal cracked open a question fashion houses have been avoiding for years. Why are they so dependent on one region for everything? Now, those behind closed doors are finally having the hard talks. With this level of risk, some US and European brands are quietly pulling out of overseas contracts. Others are looking into domestic production, even if it costs more. Because now this isn't just about efficiency, it's about protection, it's about making sure the show goes on. And after this catastrophe, no brand wants to be next in line for total collapse. And if you thought this chaos ended with empty runways and angry tweets, wait until you see how Wall Street got dragged into it. When word first spread that New York Fashion Week had been canceled, Wall Street didn't take long to react. The markets felt it instantly. LVMH reportedly saw billions wiped off its value within hours. And it wasn't just them. Kering and Richemont also took financial hits, all triggered by the supply chain breakdown tied to Chinese manufacturers. Investors can handle bad news, but they hate instability, and this situation screamed uncertainty. One insider even claimed Anna Wintour personally reached out to an executive at LVMH, giving them a heads up. Brace for a storm. And when Wintour gives you a heads up, you don't brush it off, you listen. Because what's happening here has the potential to reshape not just the fashion calendar, but the entire luxury ecosystem. The ripple effect of this case might impact how fashion weeks operate and how brands structure themselves for years to come. But here's the curveball. Some people believe this chaos could actually benefit Wintour in the long run. Sounds wild, but hear me out. If the traditional global manufacturing pipeline collapses or even fractures, someone has to step in and stabilize it. That's where centralized power comes in. And guess who's perfectly positioned to seize control? IMG and Condé Nast. This lawsuit could set the stage for them to present themselves as the answer to the fashion world's newfound instability. And if that's the play, then Anna Wintour isn't just protecting the system. She's preparing to own it. She's not just reacting, she's strategizing, turning a crisis into an opportunity to rewrite the game. If she and IMG come out on top in this lawsuit, they won't just walk away with a legal win. They'll come away with leverage, power over how future shows run, how partnerships are structured, even where and how collections are produced. The industry won't just reset, it'll be reborn under new leadership. Let's be clear, this wasn't about a fashion show gone wrong. It's about exposure. The fashion industry's carefully polished surface just cracked, and beneath it, absolute disorder. If the allegations are true that Chinese factories intentionally pulled out and caused the collapse of NYFW, and if IMG and Wintour are truly going head-to-head in court, then we're looking at a seismic shift. This is about much more than delayed shipments or broken contracts. It's a war for dominance. And whoever comes out on top of this battle, they won't just be restoring order. They'll be shaping what the future of fashion looks like. And right now, the entire world is watching it unfold.